And just like that, I'm back. And on the time that I was gone, there was so much news, and Belal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns, and now the co-main event of Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo. I'm very happy about this. I'm just very happy that we got a co-main event. I was worried that we weren't going to get something because I know Jan Blachowicz was meant to be in the talks with Paulo Costa. Dustin Poirier was even in talks to fight Gilbert Burns, was the rumor as well, and it was kind of like, man, like what's going to happen here? And I'm glad we're finally getting something here, and this has to be a title eliminator. It has to be. Colby Covington cannot leapfrog whoever wins this fight, especially because this is a 5-round co-main event. If this goes 5 rounds, which I think there's probably a pretty good chance it doesn't, if Gilbert Burns does win, I think there's a pretty good chance Gilbert Burns would be able to finish Belal Muhammad over the period of 5 rounds, but that's the thing about this fight, man. Like, it's a 5-round fight. Whoever wins this fight is coming off a 5-round win. They have to leapfrog Colby Covington. There's no way Colby Covington gets the title shot, especially if Belal Muhammad wins, because Belal Muhammad's on a pretty good unbeaten run right now. I know he's got the no contest to Edwards, but he's gone on a pretty good win streak, and I think Gilbert Burns might win this one, but my pick really could change. I just like Gilbert Burns being active recently. I think he knows that he's almost 37 years old, and his prime is kind of slipping away from him at this point, honestly, and if he's going to get a title shot, it's probably going to be either this year or next year. I don't see a almost 40-year-old Gilbert Burns fighting for the title, and we saw Glover Teixeira do it, but you know, I feel like Gilbert Burns, he's 37 years old. He probably feels fantastic right now considering he's fighting so often, but I feel like there is going to be a period of time, maybe within the next couple of years, where Gilbert Burns is older and he does slow down a little bit, but now we're not really seeing it. Gilbert Burns is looking good. And Belal Muhammad's looking pretty good too. I picked him to beat Sean Brady. Did I think he would beat Sean Brady in the way that he did? Absolutely not. But I did say that Sean Brady was getting pieced up by Michael Chiesa, who might be one of the worst strikers in the division. And hey, Belal Muhammad just kind of proved my point, so he actually made me look kind of smart. So thanks for that, Belal Muhammad. But I'm gonna go with Gilbert Burns. As an early prediction, as a super early prediction, I just like Gilbert Burns' activeness, as I said before. I like his ability to be the better striker on the feet, because he will be the better striker on the feet. I thought that he had pretty good moments against Jorge Masvidal, but what he really won the fight with truly was with the wrestling and grappling. He wasn't really able to dominate Masvidal in the wrestling and grappling, but he was still able to control Masvidal, especially in that second round, and I don't know if you could do the same to Belal, because Belal's going to make it boring. Belal's not a guy that you put on a pay-per-view to sell. Well, you can sell with Belal. He's a pretty big name, but you don't put him on fight nights like you would like Matt Semmelsberger, for example. He's not going to be like in there like throwing down and having banger fights, but Belal's in there, man. Like, maybe he could wrestle Gilbert Burns. Maybe you could hold him up against the cage a little bit, you know what I mean? And then grind out a decision, because if he does win, that's how he wins it. But I like the more dangerous guy in the matchup. I like Gilbert Burns. I think he's more dangerous on the feet than Belal Muhammad. I think he's more dangerous even in the grappling than Belal Muhammad. Like, Gilbert Burns, when it comes to MMA Jiu-Jitsu, I feel like it's a little bit overrated because he doesn't really get submissions. He couldn't submit Jorge Masvidal, who does have probably some of the best submission defense ever. He's only been submitted once in his career. In fact, I think he might have never been submitted, and he had Damian Maia on his back at one point. But Gilbert Burns, that submission over Neil Magny was the first submission in, I want to say, years in MMA. The last submission before that was in 2019 over Mike Davis. And this is a former Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. I feel like when it comes to MMA, his Jiu-Jitsu is not that great, but his ability to finish with this jiu-jitsu is not that great. I think Belal Muhammad's probably going to be smart enough to not get subbed. I think if Gilbert Burns wins, he's going to have to knock him out. I think he's going to have to knock him out like Vicente Luque did all those years ago. I think there's a good chance he does it too. Like, we're talking 5 rounds here, and especially in a 5-round fight, I know Gilbert Burns will probably be putting on the higher pace, but Gilbert Burns is going to be the fresher fighter coming into this fight. He is going to be the more prepared fighter as well. I know it's short notice, but Belal Muhammad was tweeting saying he couldn't even make the weight. Belal Muhammad was tweeting saying he was going to come off the couch. Gilbert Burns, he just fought a week ago. I'm assuming he didn't just go straight and just start munching McDonald's and KFC. He's probably stayed in camp. He's probably stayed prepared for a moment like this or something to come up for him to potentially get the title shot. Because Gilbert Burns wants that title shot, you know what I mean? And as I said, he just fought a week ago. He fought 2 months ago. He's active. He's probably in some of the best shape of his life right now. He's fighting that often, and I kind of like that from Gilbert Burns. And I don't think he cuts too much weight either. Because the problem was with Andre Fialho, it is a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but Andre Fialho fought, I think, too often. I love him for it. I love his activeness, but I feel like Andre Fialho, he fought too often and he cut too much weight, and that's why he's had those chin issues in the UFC. But Gilbert Burns, I don't think he's cutting too much weight. I don't think he's draining himself. I don't think the weight cut really hinders him too much. I think he's going to make weight. I think he's going to be good. If anyone is going to miss weight in this matchup, it would be Belal Muhammad, because he did say that he might not be able to make the weight, and he did say that he's coming off the couch. So has Belal Muhammad been really, truly ready? And considering Gilbert Burns, like we've seen Gilbert Burns train, this guy is full on. I like Gilbert Burns in this matchup. I'm not that confident in it. And there's only one Tapology community prediction, which is Belal Muhammad. But yeah, I think if Belal wins, it's a decision, man. Like Belal Muhammad he ain't really finishing anyone unless you're Patrick Brady and Sean Brady, sorry, and you just give up as soon as like anything happens to you. Like, when was the last time you finished anyone? Takashi Sato in 2019 by submission, and then before that, Steve Carl in 2016, round 4. Took him to round 4 to do that. Like, man, like this guy just ain't finishing people, man. You know what I mean? And Burns is, he didn't finish Jorge Masvidal, but he is finishing people. You know what I mean? Well, not really. Whatever, I'll leave it there. That's a pretty long video for one fight, 6.5 minutes. But let me know what you think in the comments about this fight. I'm going to be making lots of videos, man. I'm going to be spamming them because I'm not going to be super active over the next few days. So just kind of a bit of content to get out of there. And I thought this was a pretty good video to make. So yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.